Okay, hey there YouTube. Welcome down to the first. Well, actually, I'm actually going to squeeze them both into one video if I can. But this is the first half of my completed Grenadiers A Pied Division, and this is the guard part of it. So I'll take you through the two regiments and the artillery, and of course the commanding officers, and then we'll move on to the second part, which is the middle guard, and we'll do the same with those guys, and then like I promised, at some point I will actually take them out, get them into the other room and put them all out onto my gaming table and show you what they're like, all mashed up together. So like I say, this is the Imperial Guard section. And of course we'll start off with the commanding officer, and of course that is General de Division Comte Louis Friant. And although obviously you've seen this guy before in another video, I'll just give you a quick overview of him. By Paris, the Friant figure himself, very regal looking, and then joining him on his base, we have I think that's a Paris drummer, and a Elite Miniatures officer, who looks a lot better at handing up an order than he does commanding a battalion. I thought I was pretty chuffed with how this base came out actually. As you can see, I've kind of built up the back end of it to make it like a hillock, and as the general's passing, the officer's passing him up a order, and the drummer is standing to attention. I think it's quite a cool little pose for the size of the base, because I kind of said to myself that the really super big bases are only going to be used for like the real big boys, you know. So people like Van Damme, for instance, who's obviously in command of 3rd Corps. When I get back to visiting them, that's my plan for that particular figure, is completely rebasing him and putting him onto a bigger base. So that is the commanding officer, Friant. Then we have the kind of brigade commander, I suppose you could say, but really oddly the brigade commander of all the troops put together. They only have the one. So this guy is kind of the brigade commander for both the middle guard and the guard sections. So it's quite a big brigade, which I suppose Friant will come in handy for. So this guy is General de Division Francois Roger, and he is a front rank command figure, I believe, and he's on a really nice Palomino horse. Really nice figure, great command figure, and very happy with how he turned out too. Very simplistic base, just basically using my mud effect and a little bit of built up either side of the base. I think I actually used hot glue to actually build that base up, and I just stuck that piece of slate into the glue. So that is the equivalent of the brigade commander. Then we'll go for the 1st Regiment. So this is the 1st Regiment of Grenadiers, or the Old Guard, and we have their commanding officers. So this chap here, this really rather regal looking chap, this figure is Elite, I believe. You always get, if you buy like a battalion pack from Elite Miniatures, you always get a mounted colonel. Now the reason why I did these guys sort of separate was because the actual command of the actual battalions were majors, so I just wanted to do like the colonel. I suppose he could be kind of perhaps used as a sort of a sub commander figure. You know, perhaps you could use like a home rule that this guy can kind of act as a kind of a sub brigade commander for the 2 units under his own command. which would be quite cool. That'd be quite a cool thing for the Guard to be able to do. But a very nice figure, very regal looking. I think he's a great figure, this guy, and a really nice looking horse too. Elite Miniatures, like I say. So that is, let's give you the blurb on this guy. This guy is Major de Camp Baron J.M. Petit. The equivalent colonel of the regiment. Of course, Imperial Guard officers getting that one extra up rank. So colonel to Major de Camp, which of course is normally a brigade commander equivalent. So now let's go on to the troops. Now I'm not going to go right the way through them, but I'll just kind of show you like one stand and then the command stand. So this is like the NCO stand of this unit, and these are obviously the first guards. So you can see that they've got a lot more old dogs in, with sort of the grey moustaches and the grey hair. They also have a mixture of guys with normal hair and guys with whited hair, and sometimes whited sideburns, because obviously it was the sort of fashion, particularly if you're in the old guard, to actually whiten your hair, and obviously some people didn't, just whited their hair and didn't bother with their sideburns or their moustaches, and obviously some people did, but the people with the sort of grey moustaches are generally the older dogs. I mean, this guy here with a sort of slightly whiter looking moustache could possibly be someone who's actually whitened his moustache, where this guy in the front here with a sort of more greyer moustache is perhaps one that's naturally grey. So that is, these guys are elite, and of course this is the NCO stand, so you can tell by the red ribbon on his, or not ribbon, or red accoutrement to his bearskin. So that is the just a random stand of troops, and then we'll go to the command. We have a front rank eagle and a flags of war Imperial Guard flag. Really nice. The reason why I decided to use these is I basically couldn't find the Imperial Guard flags on GMB when I first looked. So I went to Flags of War and picked up, actually picked up 2 sheets, because originally I was going to give all of my units guard flags. That of course changed, but the reason why I decided to use the Flags of War ones in the end is because they're actually slightly bigger than the GMB ones, and I actually quite like that idea, that the the Imperial Guard have got slightly bigger flags than a perhaps like a line unit, for instance. I suppose you could say they need a bigger flag for all their battle honours to fit on there. But yeah, so this command stand is made up of mostly elite. In fact, 3 of the guys on here are elite. This officer is, of course, one of the ones that came with the actual battalion, and I've got to say that these, out of all of the elite miniatures officers that I've had, these particular Imperial Guard ones are the best, and I really did like them, and I've used them all basically. So here we have, like I say, the elite miniatures officer there, and then we have a front rank commanding officer. There, beautiful figure, the front rank one, and you can see that I've utilised him again in my 2nd battalion. That same figure. So that is the command stand of the 1st Guard. Then we'll go on to their 2nd Regiment. Now, the way that I kind of designed this, the regiments are that the 1st Battalion have got their white trousers, and the 2nd Battalion have got their blue trousers. Obviously, at Waterloo, they wore blue, but I just thought it would just make them pop a little bit to show that they are the first battalion. So now they've gone to the 2nd Battalion. These guys are made up of Victrix, Perrys, and front rank. So here we have a mixed stand of Perrys. Actually, they might also have some elite in as well. These two guys here are elite. So this guy here is he's Perrys. This guy here is Victrix, and these two guys at the back here are elite. And as you can see, these guys are done in a style of a mixture of great coats and normal uniforms, kind of a mixed battalion. And I did that to make them different from the 2nd Regiment, 2nd Battalion, which of course are all made up of Victrix, apart from the command perhaps. So that is just a randomised. As you can see, the Porte Fanion there has been kind of hand painted to match the regimental Fanion. So that is the stand of regular troops. And then we'll go for the command. So the command for these guys was originally I got a Perrys in for them. There's the Fanion. The Fanion is GMB, and the actual Fanion point I got from Calpe. Really nice little touch. So on this stand we have this really odd looking French junior officer who looks more like Grumpy Cat. I've kind of nicknamed him Grumpy Cat because he just kind of looks like him. I mean, look at that. Look at that grimace on his face. He's really not enjoying it. I guess the accentuated dark rings around his eyes really make him look odd. So yeah, I've nicknamed that guy Grumpy Cat because he basically looks as if, if I painted him up in Grumpy Cat colours, it looked like he was a cat standing there. Grumpy Cat standing there. Then we have, I believe this guy is actually a front rank flag bearer. I think the reason I chose him was because basically the flag bearer that came from Perry's was in exactly the same position as the one that was in the 2nd Battalion, just without a greatcoat on, and I didn't really want two of the same guys, so I swapped in a spare front rank, really nice banner holder guy, and of course the front rank officer. Really, and again, obviously a really nice figure. And then we have a senior NCO standing at the back there, who is actually a Perry's. So yeah, that's the command stand for the 2nd Battalion 1st Guards. So next up we'll move on to the 2nd Battalion. Or not the 2nd Battalion, the 2nd Regiment, sorry. So, again we'll start with the Colonel. So these guys, Colonel, or Major de Camp, is Major de Camp Baron J.M. Christiani. And we have another fine looking chap, front rank I believe, this chap, very nice figure, and a nice standing horse for him. I think it's a black horse he's actually got, this guy. Very regal looking, again a very fit figure for the position. So that is the Colonel of the 2nd Regiment. And then again we'll do the same sort of thing. So these guys for the 2nd Regiment are front rank, and they are advancing. So you can see that we've got the pointy out bayonets, and I actually, when I based these guys up, I basically had all the 6 stands formed up flush with each other, and I stuck down all the figures like a jigsaw puzzle to make sure that they're bayonet points didn't interfere with the unit ahead of them. So I'd basically stick down the 2 front figures and the 2 back figures of the stand in front of them. And I also tried to obviously keep these ones with the slightly higher raised muskets to the back, and these guys with the pointy muskets to the front, because obviously they'd take up space. But again, really nice figures. They've got that sort of really the Napoleonic version of the 1,000-yard stare, whatever it's called. Perhaps it would be like the 60-yard stare in this case. And you know, front rank, you can't go wrong really. Great looking faces, great looking figures. So that is the a basic stand of infantry. And then we'll go for the command. So on these guys, again, flags of war flag, front rank eagle. This time we have the commanding officer figure from, well, not the commanding officer, but an officer figure from Elite as the major. So you can definitely tell that I do actually quite like these guys, because otherwise they definitely wouldn't have made the commanding officer position. And then we have, I think this is another front rank flag holder there, and then a front rank secondary officer here, and an Elite Miniatures NCO, but a corporal this time rather than a sergeant. So he's still got the white cord, not red. And you can see that I've actually made a little Legion d'Honneur for the commanding officer. Very cool. Definitely like that stand. That is the 1st Regiment, 1st Battalion's 2nd Guard. And then for the 2nd Battalion, 2nd Guard, we have practically all Victrix. I did get a box of Victrix Imperial Guard. Obviously, I do like quite like Victrix, especially the heads. The thing that I did though was that because I really wanted them all marching, I more or less just used all the marching figures and then left the rest. So basically they're just all spare, and I probably never really found a use for them, to tell you the truth. But it's just a bit of a shame. But that's how it rolls. I kind of said to myself that I really wanted to try and make them all metal if I could, but I really wanted to try out a box of these Imperial Guard Victrix, yeah, they definitely get a thumbs up from me. But like I say, it's a shame that I didn't really utilise the rest of the box, but I didn't really want to. So here we have the Porte Fanian stand, the NCO stand, and just 3 normal troops on the stand with him. So that is the NCO stand. Now the command stand for these boys. Now the command stand for these guys is Parry's. Although we do have a front rank commanding officer there. I specifically got one in a long coat to go along with the all long coated unit. So here we have a Parry's flag holder. They have the Fanian. They have a Parry's officer. Again, with a not quite as bad as Mr. Grumpy Cat, but still pretty odd looking face, this guy. Perhaps they're like a really old sculpt or something. And then of course the front rank officer and a Parry's NCO, senior NCO, to make a really nice command stand, and of course another one of those Fanian points. So that is the 2nd Battalion, 2nd Regiment. Now the last part of the guards here will be their artillery. So I'll just give you a quick look at their artillery. Now this particular battery doesn't have a named officer at the moment. I'm going to kind of have a little look around, see if I can find out who it is, but at the moment there's no named officer for this particular unit. But they are the 5th Company Old Guard Field Artillery. So we have the 6-pounder, Perry's with a front rank officer, and that's a 6-pounder. And then we also have, for these particular this particular battery, a howitzer, 4-man crew. I didn't have the sort of slightly after this I decided to add extra crew figures to cannons, but like I say, because these guys are on the slightly smaller artillery bases, I tend not to add that many extra crew to sort of like these sorts of guns. Although I did actually do it on the auxiliary battery, but generally, if there's any extra figures, it's generally just the officer. But yeah, I really do like having a howitzer with my batteries if I can. Obviously, it's sometimes not possible. Like for instance, when I brought the 2 guns as a deal from Warlord, they wouldn't allow you to have one of each. But yeah, I do like howitzers because they allow you to fire over troops. So I must admit, in the last game of Black Powder I played, I was utilising my French howitzers a hell of a lot. And although they weren't really that effective, it's a lot more effective than not being able to fire your guns at all. So that's why I kind of like having a howitzer, because I think in the Black Powder rules you have to have a howitzer on the table to be able to utilise it. So by having 1 gun and 1 howitzer, you kind of eradicate that problem of having, perhaps, I mean, I know some people have 3-gun batteries with 2 normal guns and a howitzer on the side. But I think I'll stick with 2s because of the size of the table I play on. So that is the completed guard section of the Grenadier Division, Grenadiers Division A Pied, or Grenadiers A Pied Division. So if you just give me a few seconds, I will swap these around, because as I said, both sides of the army are conveniently on these pieces of wood that I found. So let me just slide them back, and we'll bring down the middle guard. Here we go. Oh, the middle guard and the Marines, actually. Okay, so let's go into these guys. So we'll start off with the 3rd Regiment Middle Guard, and these guys, Colonel is this chap here, this rather regal-looking chap here. Front rank figure. I really fell in love with this guy as soon as I saw him. I knew I had to get him. Really nice command figure. And let's have a look at these details. So Major de Camp Baron Porre de Morvan of the 3rd Middle Guard Regiment. Very nice. And then we have the 1st Battalion of the 3rd Regiment, and these chaps, I believe, are front rank. So yeah, I had to really scour around to try and find Middle Guard figures. The only 2 that I found were front rank and elite. Although I suppose you could kind of hash them up yourself. But I like the fact that these guys were actually made up as Middle Guard. And then this is the NCO stand. You can tell because he's got the yellow braiding around his shako and the red cordage. And of course these guys have got the dress plumes on, the really tall ones, which probably, I think they were kind of still around because they've kind of been phased out as sort of normal wear. But I think they still kept them around for their dress uniforms. And obviously it's a little bit unrealistic that these guys have got them on for the battle, but obviously they do look quite cool. Now, I have done these guys all in white trousers. I'm not sure if these guys wore blue as well, but I went for the white trouser look for these guys. So now we'll go for the command. Now this, again, we have slight inaccuracy here that I did decide to give these guys the 1st Battalion, or the 3rd Regiment, 1st Battalion, a flag. You can actually see that this is the GMB version of the sort of the Guards flag, and it's actually quite a bit smaller than the Flags of War one, the ones. But I think it looks quite cool, just because these guys are a full regiment. That they have a flag. I think obviously historically they didn't. They just all had fanions. But again, I wanted them to stand out. So, and I had the flag spare, and I'd rather use the flag. I didn't actually have a spare fanion for these guys, so it actually worked out quite well that I gave them a flag. And of course, again with the Calpe fanion point. So on the stand we have. Yeah, they're all front rank. Obviously, it's a front rank battalion, so yeah, really cool. I suppose the only downer to these guys is that they only have the 2 officers, so they are repeated throughout my other front rank troops, and I think I've only got. Yeah, I've got 2. I've got another unit of front rank guys. So that is the front rank march attack pose for those boys. So now on to the 2nd Regiment. Again, the NCO stand. Now these guys are elite. So these are the elite middle guard. Again, really nice figures. They've got slightly smaller plumes than the front rank. Figures scale up perfectly other than that. I believe these guys are charging, I think. Or is it advancing? I always get mixed up between the two. I think they could be advancing. Because again, they look like they're sort of walking rather than running. Very cool. Again, battalion box. So you got like, I can't remember if you got 36 or 40. I think you got 36. So that is the infantry stand, and then we have the command stand. Now these guys obviously have got a fanion, and front rank officer there, front rank officer there, front rank sergeant, and a front rank flag bearer. So all front rank command for these boys, because the middle guard officers were not up to standard for me to use. Now I can't remember if I used one of their flag pole holders as well. I can't remember, but obviously not in that regiment. So that is the second battalion of the 3rd, and then we will move on to the 4th Regiment, which of course is only made up of the 1 battalion. So here we have the middle guard command officer from the Elite Miniatures box. Quite a cool looking figure. A little bit of an odd looking horse, but I think it could just be where he's kind of looking up. And let's give you the blurb on this guy. This guy is Major de Camp Baron de Harlet. And then we'll go on to the battalion. Now these guys again are front rank, and this time they are charging, I believe. Or actually, no, maybe these guys are advancing as well. Yeah, they're advancing again. Similar sort of position as the Imperial Guard, actually. The Imperial Guard advancing. Again, I had to baste these guys up quite carefully to avoid sticking into the backs of the stands. And you can see that I've put a spare NCO figure into the mix here, which I think looks quite cool. Not a spare, that is actually the NCO stand. And then we have the command stand. So again, another Fanion, and the same two front rank officers, a front rank banner eagle holder, and also obviously another front rank guy at the back there, because obviously it's the whole battalion is front rank. So that is the 1st regiment of the 4th Middle Guard, and that's those boys out the way. And then finally we have the battery, the artillery battery, which of course I just did a video on, and I'll just give you a little, just a quick peek at these guys. So these guys are Warlord Imperial Guard cannon crew, and this particular chap here, the extra guy, is a Parry's from the artillery, the extra artillery pack that you can get. Just because I wanted 2 guys on the rear trail, because basically what they do is they've got this metal pipe or metal bar, and there's actually 3 rings on the back of the cannon. There's 2. There's 1 at the front and then 2 at the back, and the 2 at the back are designed so that you can actually lift the back up to allow the gun to be moved easier. And then I think the 1 at the top there is designed literally so that you can basically lift the tail of the gun and actually move its swivel it around a little bit if you need to actually aim the gun. So I wanted to get the 2 guys in with the pole, and then rather oddly they give you the sponger, which I think is a little bit of an odd choice. And I think this guy, they just rehashed the 12-pounder guy, because this guy's sponge pole is way too long for a 6-pound gun. If you match him up to the other sponge guys, his sponge is way too long for a 6-pounder. So that's a little. I don't know if that's just Warlord cheaping out and giving you using the same figure from the 12-pound crew for a 6-pound gun, but I don't know. But yeah, quite a nice gun. And then we have the second gun of the Marine Auxiliary Battery, and this is the one with the officer on. This is of course another repeat of the front rank artillery officer, and then again a little bit of an odd choice of crew figures. We have the sponger, we have the fuse guy, we have the match guy who looks more like he's come from Hogwarts and is about to cast a spell, then holding a match to fire a cannon. And then we have this rather odd chap holding the cannonball back here, who I suppose, if you really wanted, you could have kind of put him up here, but it's a little bit out of step, because when the gun fires, the sponge holder guy is the assistant to the sponger, so he shouldn't have anything in his hands. And this guy will pass on the cannonball when they actually reload. So a little bit of an odd choice of figures again for all the artillery here. Now I don't know if that guy's again rehashed from the 12-pounder set. I don't know, but yeah, that's another Warlord gun. Shame it's not howitzer, like I said, but sometimes you just have to go with what you can get. And I said that I said to myself that the most important thing is to have the gun stand out in comparison to the Parrys, and that's what they do. So I'm quite happy with the 2 6-pounders in the end. Now the last thing, now that's actually the division done, but I'll just kind of do a little overview of the 2 little tiny units of Imperial Guard Marines that I have at the back here. Now these guys aren't part of the Grenadiers A Pied Division, but they are part of the headquarters division. Now you could theoretically say that that at this particular time the 100 Days campaign, these guys were so small that they could basically just be made up of the one small unit, or the one medium size, no, small unit. There's 18 guys. But I liked them so much that I wanted to have 2 battalions of the small Marines. So I actually modelled the 1st and 2nd Marines as separate entities, where I think in reality they're actually fielded as one. We're talking about under 300 men in total for the two battalions. I think at one point they were over 300. But by the 100 Days campaign, these guys had shrunk down to around about, I think one was around about 150 and the other one was about 100, and you can hear my cat having a sneezing fit in the background. Bobo, you okay, girl? You okay? Yeah, these guys were, I think the second group was literally just over 100. Okay, so I'll do the same sort of thing. I'll just show you a couple of the... Bye-bye. Bye-bye, you okay, girl? You okay? You are having a sneezing fit, aren't you? Yeah, you okay? You okay? Oh, girl. You okay? Bobo! Okay, sorry about that. Back to the Marines. So, these guys here are the Warlord Marines. These are the guys that kind of got me started. Let me just let's move these guys back actually. So here we have, like I say, the Warlord Marines are kind of all in an action pose. I picked them up for a battalion deal. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I think it could possibly have been around Black Friday, but it might have been a little bit earlier than that. But I basically got like a battalion deal where you basically got like 3 blister packs for like maybe like £5 off or something like that. I do really like them. I've always liked the Marines actually. Now, of course, Marines in the loosest of sense, as in these guys are actually naval personnel and not actually Marines as we know them. But you can see that I've hand painted the Porte Fanion for these boys, and I really like their positions actually, and I really do like their uniforms too. So that is the trooper stand, and then we'll go for the command stand. As you can see, that all these guys are made up of 3 guys. So these guys have the Marine flag. We have another Porte Fanion, and we have the flag bearer and the NCO. Well, no, it's actually a normal trooper. Then we have the officer, the captain, and he's got a boarding axe, which is kind of cool. So really nice figures those. So that is the Warlord Marines, and I'll also just quickly show you the drummer and the bugler from these guys, because they're kind of in unique uniforms. So here we have the drummer. Now this guy is in his normal campaign uniform, but you can see that he's in a sort of a blue colour rather than the dark blue of the normal troops, because he's kind of like it's just seems to be a musician thing. Really nice, really pops on the bass. And then we have the bugler in the sort of second rank, and he is actually in his dress uniform, which is kind of cool, really flashy. So yeah, I just wanted to show you those 2 guys. So that is the Warlord 1st Marines, or the 2nd Marines, I can't remember. But then we have the Perry's Marines, and in fact I didn't know the Perry's did Marines, I just happened to find them by fluke. You have to kind of go right to the end of the towards the end of the French pages to find them. And the cool thing is that you can actually get them in their dress uniform, or you can get them in their campaign uniform. And for these guys, to make them a little bit different, I wanted to go for covered shakos. But of course, the big bonus for covered shakos is making them a lot easier to paint, because they all have really ornate shakos. But you can see they've got their anchors, really cool figures. Basically like a normal marching French trooper, really. But they've got their longer sized sabres, or stroke cutlasses, I suppose you could call them. But yeah, so that's the stand of normal troopers. And then we'll go for the command stand for these boys. Part of the reason why I really liked the Perry's troops was the command stand. So again, we have another. These are First Marines, actually. You can see that I've given them a fictional eagle. And we have the officer there. Really cool position. And the flag bearer. And then these guys have also got a drummer, who is he's actually wearing campaign uniform, but again it's obviously blue, so really cool looking drummer. And finally, the second, these guys do actually have a second officer, so I did a pseudonym command stand for these boys, so you can split them into two tiny units. And we have another really cool secondary officer drawing his sword, and then we have the bugler there again in he's actually in a campaign uniform, and again in his blue uniform. So that is the end of this particular Imperial Guard division. Really enjoyed doing it, and really these guys should have got finished months ago. They should have been finished before November, really. But I'm so happy to have finished them now, and it marks the second part of the halfway point of this project as a whole, with the completion of these guys. And of course that just leaves me with the 4th British Cavalry Brigade Regiment and the 11th Cavalry Division for the French. So that is that. So I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously at some point I will be doing the table overview of them. So until then, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye.